At one time, there was a golden age, the age of greatness. Then there were the forgotten times. But now, we're in an age of darkness.
Get off!
But then came a time of two heroes, bringing back the awesome to slay the silliness of our woke overlords. We can only pray they are not too late.
Hello, my green skins, and Terminator 2 sucks. I don't care what anybody says. So we're reviewing Highlander. Now that we've just pissed off 1,000 people.
Everybody's clicked off the video right away.
Okay, so we are doing the legendary, amazing movie Highlander 1. We're not doing the other movies. Now I'm going to explain why I said that Terminator 2 sucks in a bit. But we'll start with Erwin. Erwin, what did you think of the movie?
I thought that the other Highlander movies are a lot better than the first one.
Oh, fuck you. Mark, what did you think of this movie?
Well, this is not a movie I frequently revisit. In fact, the number of times I've probably watched it, you can count with one hand. And half of those times is probably skimming through it. But I think I watch it primarily for Sean Connery.
Hell yeah.
But outside of that, it's still a good movie. But I just love the scenes with Sean Connery, how I think we'll get this in the story section. That thick Scottish accent, he doesn't know what haggis is.
And then apparently he's not supposed to be actually Scottish in the movie. He's supposed to be like a Moroccan Spaniard.
He's actually originally was an Egyptian, and he became a Spaniard, I guess, as time went on. So he traveled the world. Like, he's fucking...
Just like the guy in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, except for that movie sucks.
I didn't even talk about the movie. I was talking about the game series.
Oh yeah, I forgot there was a game series.
Oh my goodness.
So Highlander is a great movie. It's what I like to call a pitch perfect movie. But it's a movie that unfortunately has a big problem. Sequels. This is the biggest problem with this movie, I think, personally. And this is the reason I make the joke about how Terminator 2 sucked. The reason I did that is because I think if you put Highlander 1 and just left it alone, didn't do the TV show, the anime, the fucking comics, all this other fucking bullshit, the four other movies.
You mean franchise it?
Yeah. If you didn't franchise this movie, it is perfect. Same thing with Terminator. If you're to keep Terminator on Terminator 1 and then 2, you have a perfect fucking movie. You have a perfect movie series. The problem is that's the biggest problem. Now, if you cut Terminator 2 out, Terminator 1 is still a great movie, but 2 adds to it almost perfectly. It's like making a soup. You put all the ingredients for a nice soup, and some asshole walks over and goes, "Let's add some fish." And just throws trout into your soup. And that's basically what happens.
But what about the people that like fish soup?
That's the prick who made Terminator 3, the guy who said, I wanted to make a movie that I, as a fan, wanted to see. You wanted to see a comedy Terminator with...
Comedy that's not funny?
Yeah, a comedy is not funny with an attractive woman with big titties.
Isn't that what they did with the feminist Ghostbusters?
No. He wanted to create a movie where women had expandable breasts. That's the best way to put it.
I like the idea.
No, I'm not going to say anything.
The only
about
good scene in the whole movie.
Yep, exactly.
Well, they should have made the whole movie about that. So let's talk about Highlander.
So, the movie starts off with a wrestling fight between the Freebirds, and I can't remember what the other group was, because the Freebirds are fucking awesome. Freebirds for life, baby. Freebirds for life.
The Slave Dogs.
Was it the Slave Dogs?
WWE. You can't not enjoy it.
No, dark. How dare you? It's 80s IWA.
Isn't that a beer?
It's wrestling.
So,
sorry. For some of our audiences, it's wrestling.
You took my girl and you took my job. Mister, you better take your gay porn and walk right out of this bar.
We have ourselves, our main character, watching a wrestling match. And then he hears...
Called Ric Flair.
Not Ric Flair. Christopher Lambert, which is actually a very underrated actor. I think he's done some good roles. I think he's done some shit roles. You know, Mortal Kombat being one of them.
Was he actually in Mortal Kombat?
He was Raiden in the original Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that's the guy. Gotcha.
So he runs into some other guy, some other mortal. and they start the sword fight, which is both realistic and bullshit because you got a fucking guy flipping everywhere.
Yeah, he was doing the pink Power Ranger thing.
Yeah,
It's like they
Dean was like, "What the hell was that all about?"
Yeah, he's backflicking
Backflicking.
everywhere.
He's bean flicking.
Bean flicking, bat flicking, boofing pooping. So this guy backflipping all about. They get in the fight, which is actually pretty decent. And then during that combat, he kills this guy, and then you get this awesome fucking scene where you get to see the quickening for the first time.
Yeah, the cars are shaking. They're like going up and down like one of those hydraulic competitions that Mexicans have.
Yeah. So it's a cool scene where all this craziness kicks off. As he kills this guy, he hides the sword and drives away, and he gets caught by the cops. And they're like trying to catch him and stuff. And then it cuts to every once in a while, it cuts to these beautiful scenes of like him in the past, way in the past.
In Scotland.
Being a warrior fighting for his clan against this other rival clan. I think it was MacLeod versus the Finnegan clan, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the name of the clan.
The MacLeods versus the McGrowns.
No, I think it was the Finnegan. Anyway. No, I actually think it was Finnegan. Because I think the MacLeods and Finnegans don't like each other. I can't remember where I heard that, but someone said it was the Finnegan versus the MacLeods.
Oh well, one of the Scottish audience members of our channel, they're gonna figure that whole thing out.
They'll set up the rivalries for the clan.
Type it to us in Scottish.
Damn Scots! They ruined Scotland!
Yeah, if you ever wanted to like have a who killed who during the clan wars of fucking Scotland. Oh yeah, they were murdering each other a lot over the years. So it cuts back to him dealing with the cops. Then it cuts to them dealing with the body. And this is where a lot of people say this is the big problem with this movie, is that the fact is the constant cutting to other locations kind of takes you out of it. Now, the girl, the female lead, the sex lead,
the investigator,
she finds the sword. She's not a reporter.
April O'Neil.
She's not April O'Neil. She's actually a CSI investigator, and she finds this sword. She finds this sword and goes, "Holy fuck. This sword is insane. The sword's worth like millions and millions of dollars." And they're like, "What, really?" So then it goes into this kind of like, it cuts back to him kind of doing stuff. And it does this cut back and forth. And that's the problem with this movie. This story is constantly cutting. If we actually really want to break it down, that's my biggest problem with this movie. For all the cool bits, it's the constant flashbacks. If they would have kept to a flashback and then jumped and did that a little less, that's the biggest problem. Then you cut to our big bad, the Kurgan, showing up.
I don't have a problem with it going back and forth between the then, present, and the past. Some films do that, and some more effectively than others.
I think it did it well.
Didn't do it in a bad way.
I think it did it well, but that's my biggest... That would be my only biggest complaint about this movie. I think it's a little too cut one way or another. So CSI woman's like, "How the fuck did you get this?" And then it cuts to, again, the big bad showing up. And I guess during this entire time, there's all these other Immortals killing each other that no one sees, because it doesn't portray that. Because this gathering has a bunch of people showing up to kill each other. And then it starts explaining what the gathering is. And then you get the best scene as it's cutting back and forth, as you get her finding the magical Muramasa sword. Like they got a Duncan, or I keep wanting to say Duncan. I apologize. That's a TV show. Connor MacLeod has a sword that shouldn't exist. It's one of the greatest swords that, like, this sword shouldn't exist. And she's like, "Holy shit."
Makes sense to me.
Meanwhile, we cut to Sean Connery, a Scotsman, playing a Spaniard that actually is legitimately Egyptian.
I mean, you guys really want diversity in your movies. This is a diverse movie, isn't it?
Scottish accent, doesn't know what haggis is.
Yeah.
Did someone tell him, "Please change your accent"? I mean, he's an actor after all.
He does actually try.
You can kind of hear a hint of Egyptian. You can hear maybe a sliver of it.
He really does try, but you can hear it every once in a while, just that heavy Scottish accent. Sean Connery plays Sean Connery really well. You fucking try to get him to play anybody else but Sean Connery, it doesn't look good. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like a Sean Connery, Christopher Walken. Who else is like one of these like characters who like their voice cannot change for fucking beans?
Yeah, there's a couple that just...
Schwarzenegger, yeah.
Tried to play a Russian.
Stallone is actually good at playing other people.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, he's bad for that too. But Stallone can play other people. The problem is most roles are right around being Stallone.
He's typecast.
Yeah, his personality works, but his voice acting doesn't. Like, you fucking hear him in anything that he does. So we cut to Sean Connery teaching Connor how to be an immortal, giving him the powers, giving him these abilities, giving him
the lore.
Yeah, giving him the lore, and you get like to find out what the holy ground and all this other type of stuff. And then you cut back to Connor playing with the detective. I guess he's found himself an immortal. I guess he found himself something to play with for the day. So
Yeah, didn't they randomly meet in the bar and she just happens to meet him?
No. He didn't randomly meet in the bar. He followed her because he realizes, oh shit, this woman's got me pegged. And then he
pegged her later on.
Oh yeah, did he ever? We then cut to our awesome Kurgan. I don't know who this actor is. I have to figure out his name. I don't think he was ever anything but this movie. And
the guy's called Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown is badass.
Oh fuck, he's like a really famous guy. What are you talking about?
Has he been in a lot of movies?
He's been in a lot of movies, but most of the stuff he's been doing is actually voice acting. He's Mr. Krabs.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Oh fuck, I know who that is. Oh my god. For years oh my god. Holy shit, I know who, god damn it, I know who this guy is now, Clancy Brown. So Clancy Brown, wow, he was so good in this movie. I actually couldn't portray him in other movies. So he has a voice, I know who you're talking about now. Oh yeah, he's an amazing actor. I recognize the name the second. It's like, fuck, this pissed me off now. I had a guy say that to me years ago, that was the only movie he was ever in. No, he's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah, like, it just sounds so funny that you're like, I don't think he's ever been in anything else. He's like, he's done everything.
He's done everything. I know, fucking dumbass over here.
That happens to the best of us.
So you get an awesome scene, this guy building his sword, and just kind of a cool scene of him building his sword and then building a boner when Candy comes in through the door.
He built a boner?
He built a boner.
He built a boner.
So it's funny how 4chan caught that. So we then cut to more kind of scenes of him flirting with this girl and cutting back and forth between the past, present. An interesting scene that got cut from movies was there's a scene where he takes on a German and saves a little girl, which I guess he raised as his own daughter. They run into other people, and it's cool. It's kind of a cool overall kind of thing where he'll run into this other immortal. He's like, well, okay, I want to fight the Kurgan first. It's like, okay, you go fight the Kurgan first. And so he goes and fights the Kurgan. He gets his ass kicked. And then the Kurgan kidnaps his girlfriend because the Kurgan's been following his ass around. And so then he goes to fight the Kurgan. And one of the most best fight sequences, I think, in the movie, followed up with one of the most fucking insane endings that leads to something else. So the problem is, it's a hero story 101. This is easy to break down. The story's not exactly the greatest. Now, here's where we get to the fucking scene work in this movie. Holy fuck, is the scene work amazing in this movie. This movie has some of the best scene work I have ever seen in any movie.
I loved it a lot of times.
Oh, it's 90% of it. Even the lame ass shit is still good.
The backgrounds, the Scottish area, that like big mountain where they're trying to like train, that room that's like a circle with all the stuff, like the random like junk around it.
It feels like two different people directed the movie. Like one did the past scenes and one did the present scenes. And I think the past scenes.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Yeah,
I did feel that myself a little bit, but the thing about that made it kind of good is the music was also amazing, but we'll get to the music in a bit. But everything about this, there are so many scenes in this movie that are so fucking good. When Clancy Brown is putting the tape in the thing, and it's like when he's listening to the report, there's a headhunter, blah, 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 blah. And he puts the tape in there and he's like, I know his name. And like he puts the tape in, and just as he's putting the tape in, the music fucking picks up in the full. It's a perfect fucking beat. And it's so well done. It's one of the better beats in the movie.
Yeah, it is well edited in that way. Like that one part where it's like the red lights from a bar, neon lights, and then it like transfers over to the left side, and then there's like a red sunset.
Yeah, beautiful, right? Like it has this moment of like perfect scene transition. And that's what makes this movie really good. Now let's break down the music. Unless Dark wants to add anything to that, what we just said?
Well, What can you say about the music? It's yeah.
Oh, it's fucking Queen. That's what makes this scene work perfect. Like when I say there's an 80s pitch perfect movie, there are very few movies on this planet that I consider pitch perfect. One of them is Neverending Story. For the 80s anyway. For the 80s, yeah, a Neverending Story. Yeah, Highlander and like a couple others. But this is one of the best 80s pitch perfect for that. The music's just epic. Like the
time for music in general, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. It had some of the best music out there. Unfortunately, we have a Gen Z with us that doesn't understand the true nuances of music.
Who's that?
You.
I like the music. What are you talking about?
Yeah. We all know you hear the shit sound from like because you're one of those younger people from South Park.
Feel like that sounds like shit too.
All right, look, I got some things to say. One,
Okay.
I am not Gen Z, and I refuse to be called like that. Two, I love music from the 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, but 80s metal is where I kind of like drift away, because I know more about 80s pop than 80s metal. But I know Queen, okay? I know what Queen is.
Oh God. So you're like the Demolition Men. You're like those guys in the future for the See, he is a Gen Z. He's like we're listening to Oscar Mayer Wiener in his basement wearing a fucking kimono.
Sucking on wieners in my basement, yeah.
Hey, what you do on your time. Okay, so
Oh, I want to suck on your Oscar Mayer ween.
Okay, so what did you think? Like, honestly, I was making a joke there, but what did you think of Highlander's like scene transitions and the music that was used?
I fucking love the transitions. I love the music. A lot of the what do you call that? Like not quite fighting music. There's something in there. I don't know what this word is. I always like stumble on this, but there's something about certain
gravity.
No, there's certain moments where there's something going on, and it sounds like Resident Evil music from like the Resident Evil 2. I don't know what that thing's called. It's not really a synthesizer. It's like piano and like it's like all this weird like sound effects that sound really good from the 80s.
It's keyboard. It's I can't remember what that was called there.
You probably know what I'm talking about.
It's synthesized.
I don't know what it's called though. It's always in like John Woo movies, Jackie Chan movies,
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and like when like it's like a tense moment or like a tense scene, they have music like that.
Yeah, so it's not a bad. It has great scene music. It's one of the better scene music out there. They did some of the best music for that. Like some of my favorite moments is that the New York song that he sings in there, and it's just like that whole scene is just fucking amazing, and it's just over the top. So, what did you think of the acting for this movie?
I think the acting was very good. I mean, I think for some people, the voice acting, this unnatural, gravelly voice the villain does, is gonna be jarring, but I think that adds to it.
Well, I mean, we had to be honest. That actually is his voice. that is his
Oh my
voice.
god, I didn't know that. That is so.
Yeah, I
weird.
know that
That's
actually.
pulling my leg.
Yeah,
Oh, you know who Mr. Krabs is, right?
yeah, he's actually Clancy Brown has a hardcore deep voice. Like the funny thing is, when I was told this years ago, he never did any other movies. He just did this one movie and that was it. Now that I know who that guy is, I can see him because he usually has curly red hair.
Yeah. And here he's like shaved head or like burned or whatever.
Yeah. He has his hair like this black hair, straight hair. He is an amazing actor and done a lot of roles. He's done a lot of TV and movies. This was epic for that fight sequence and for that. And that's the thing. He did such good acting. Like he was over the top when he needed to be over top. He was growly when he wanted to be growly. And Christopher, I think it's Christopher Lambert. I might be getting the name wrong. I probably am. It's probably like Christopher Lloyd or something like that.
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lambert is amazing for his scenes. Like there's that scene, like I said, one of the best scenes in this movie is the scene where he's going back to his wife and he's living with his wife. He knows his wife, like he will never live, like he will outlive her. Like she will long since die. and he will outlive her, and he's watching her slowly get older, and you get that music.
Yeah, he sees her decay in front of him like that one guy in Indiana Jones Last Crusade when he like turns to a skeleton because he drank from the wrong cup.
But that's what I thought about that. Like take that, like imagine like living with this
Old hag.
Yeah, that's right. Like you're living with her. She chooses to stay with you, but at the same time, you choose to stay with her and you're watching her slowly get older. As you know, you're going to live past her and she's going to die. It is heart-wrenching, right? Like, and then the music picks up.
And Queen is like, "You live forever."
No, who wants to live forever?
Yeah, who wants to live?
And it's just such a sad, and the music's perfect. Like that, there's a great scene where we won't be able to show it on YouTube, unfortunately, but maybe we'll show it on our other stuff like BitChute and Rumble. But you never know. Cough, cough. We have other sites. Cough, cough. YouTube copyrights us quite a lot.
Alternative, cough, cough, get off of YouTube, cough, cough.
Yeah. Okay, so we get this beautiful scene where she kind of like as the music's peaking up, Connor looks and she just steps up and you can see her being an old woman. And it's just it's almost heart-wrenching. It's such a beautiful scene. It's like the reason I say this is a great not like a good movie, a great movie to a perfect movie. Is that scene.
All right, there's one problem with the scene though that I did have, and you heard me laugh when we were watching it.
Yeah, what was that?
The way they put the makeup on her at the last part of it made me laugh because she looks so goofy with old lady makeup on her.
Yeah, it kind of bugged him with the old lady makeup, but I got I got the makeup.
I love the scene, but then it just looks goofy at the end of it. It's like it's hard to like retain the thought of it being sad when it's making you laugh like that,
Yeah, I still think that's an amazing scene.
They weren't good at applying makeup to make people look older.
No, that's the funny thing. The funny thing is,
to make people look younger. That's what makeup is designed for.
I know, but there's just I gotta say about that. Okay, when the scene where she's in a more darker area, she looks good in the makeup they put her in. It didn't work good.
And she went into the light and
it looked
awful.
really bad that second scene. But then they portray her as an older person as time goes, and they portray him walking away. He sets fire to the place and goes on his adventure. That's a beautiful. Everything about that was beautiful. And it does, like I said, that's what makes this movie so great.
I also like the part when he chucks her into the fire and says, "Burn, bitch, burn."
That's not in there, but Jesus hell.
I mean, people have poked fun at Terminator 2's alternate ending with Sarah Connor being much older and how the makeup was applied. But the thing is, I will take that ending over the normal one because that ending cannot open a sequel. So with that ending, Terminator 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever could never happen.
And that's the biggest problem with this movie is the fact that it had sequels. I gotta admit, I love the TV show.
It left itself open.
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't. If you really think about it, it has a good middle, and then the ending is the ending.
The ending was like where he walks off into the sunset to have more adventures.
No, it isn't Highlander. No.
What happened? Okay, wait. What happened in the fucking ending?
The ending scene. Again, you must have turned it off or something. Because the ending scene, he's talking to the girl. He's back in Scotland, and he says, I can understand everything. I can hear everything. I can see everything. And she goes like, I can have children now. And she's like, what am I thinking? She says, you're wondering if you can have a life with me, and the answer is yes. I can have a child, I can live, and I can choose to die.
That is kind of open, but I know what you I know what you mean when you're saying like, no, it's not that open.
How is that open? He can guide existence, which led to Highlander 2, which is...
You just said how it opens it. My goodness gracious.
No. I'm saying I can understand how they use that for Highlander 2, but if you actually think about it, it's not an open if you actually think about it.
Well, it was open. They made a sequel.
No, that's the thing. No, that they made an awful sequel that didn't exist, that didn't deserve to exist.
Doesn't matter, had sex.
Yeah, he did have sex. Yeah, they didn't need it. They didn't need that. That's what I'm saying. It was a good ending. It did not leave an opening.
Yeah, I didn't need it.
I need it. What? I'm the guy that does improv here, so you have to do some improv.
Sure, why not?
Okay, so that's the biggest problem with this movie. before we give our rating, is the sequels. We're gonna touch on them a little bit. 3 other movies after this, I believe. There's Highlander 2, 3, and Defiance, which is basically the ending of the Highlander TV show movie. Then there's the TV show. Then there's the Animu.
And then the spin-off.
Yeah, the spin-off, which is a TV show. And then the spin-off to the TV show, which is Highlander Raven, which is...
That's what I'm talking about, the spin-off of the TV show.
Yeah, of the TV show. This did not need any of this fucking shit. And I think that's why this ratings are going to get... The people give this movie lower ratings than it needs because the sequels are so fresh. It's the same thing with Terminator. I honestly believe if you had left Terminator 1 alone, it's a 10 out of 10 movie.
I totally agree. Like, a lot of these sci-fi movies, they get dragged down by their sequels that do not need to be made. Like Terminator, Predator, Alien.
If that's the consensus, then I don't agree with it because I don't think Terminator 2 in any way takes away from the first one. I think the first one is amazing.
Leaving it blank is actually perfect because you don't need to know what Sarah Connor does. Like, and it doesn't explain anything either if you really think about it. That's the biggest problem with Terminator 2. We will do Terminators eventually. We're not going to get into it much here, but...
I would say a 2 is okay, because I haven't really seen that many 2s that have been bad from this kind of, like, thing, except for maybe RoboCop 2.
I would say Terminator RoboCop is actually one that we could talk about also later, but this is the biggest problem with Highlander. Highlander has all these sequels that just were fucking bad, really bad, holy fuck bad. Terminator Prophecy, or what's it called, Prophecy? You know, it's good. You don't, like, it's a good movie. You don't need it. So it's kind of one of those, you don't need these other movies. And it drops it because of it. You didn't need this, and that's the same thing with Terminator. So what do you guys want to give this movie?
I think I'll give it a 7.5.
It's kind of funny, because I I do want to give it also around a 7.5. Maybe at some points it might be like a 7.75, but it can't really hit that 8 range yet because of some like
9.5. And this movie is pitch perfect for the 80s. It's the same thing I would say about a movie like Terminator. I would say it's very similar to the movie like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. It is almost pitch perfect. It's a 9.5. With the sequels and everything that's in consideration, I drop it down to a 9, but it is almost perfect.
Well then you're not reviewing the movie, you're reviewing an entire series.
No, I'm not reviewing the entire series. I'm saying that just because those added sequels caused that problem, that's why I say 9.5 for me.
I mean, I can think of one instance where a follow-up complemented the original in a way that
it's Predator
so
2. Yeah,
actually,
it's
I was
Predator
thinking
2.
like Rocky and Rocky 2.
Until you get to the other Rockies. So that's the problem. Like I would say similar to Terminator that this movie has sequel problems, and if you take the sequels into consideration out, you can actually I would say it's a 9.5. I'm not going to give it a 10. It's not that good. But the problem is it drops it because of it. I would say fucking this is a hard one for me because I love this movie.
What drops it for me and like down to like a 7.5 maybe is that I guess you can say replay value isn't that high for a lot of people. But if you do like Terminator and you want to see a fantasy version of that, yeah, this is totally like a fantasy version of Terminator. And if you like Sean Connery, you like, Mr. Krabs being the villain, like you would fucking love this shit.
Yeah, this is a good movie. Fucking great movie. I would say one of the perfect movies of its time.
I would also like to add that the audience at the time did not agree because this made less money. This made less money than what it cost.
Oh yeah, this movie bombed. You know what it is? It's that John Carpenter syndrome, or where it's like, fuck, the movie's at this rating, the movie's at this lower rating, the movie's at this lower rating, and it's like, wow, because John Carpenter's movies like are considered cult classics now, like they're like The Thing,
or They Live.
They Live was hated. Now people say they're the greatest movies of all time.
Critics then and critics now are exactly the same. They feel like they're the same people. They just hate anything that's awesome and badass and cool. I mean, I don't
know, Dark. You don't like John Wick.
John Wick is a poor man's Rambo.
I thought it was a poor man's Matrix.
Yeah, I know. So now that we've
I
insulted
don't like The
everyone
Matrix
on the
either.
internet,
Yeah, like speaking of not knowing what people want, we just totally like angered all the audience, and now we got the amount of money we're making from this video is less than what it cost to produce. Now we lost money.
we've lost money on this one.
This video's a flop.
This video is going to be a flop. Well, thank you everybody for hearing 3 jackasses and the jackass sandwich on our on Orc War Chief reviews. Please like, sub, and subscribe. And if we get to 1,000 viewers by this year, if we somehow magically get to 1K, we will review the Highlander TV show. All 9 seasons, over 2,000 hours of content.
And we're gonna stream it live every day at the hour on the hour, so everybody can watch it with us.
No, we can't do that. I wish we could. I wish we could do live reactions and stuff. That would be fucking great.
That'd be fucking great.
But we can't do that.
Technically, we could on BitChute or Twitch.
Or Rumble. But yeah, so thank you everybody. Hopefully, if we get to 1,000, we will watch all episodes of Highlander and the Highlander TV show. But I doubt we're going to get to 1,000.
And Texas Ranger, all the episodes.
I'm
Grey's
not
Anatomy,
watching
every
no
fucking
fucking
episode.
Grey's Anatomy. Fuck you all.
We're gonna watch every episode.
No Grey's Anatomy. Fuck you.
Every episode
All right,
of
I'm
Walking
cutting
Dead.
it off now. I'll
every
talk to you
episode
later.
of
No, we're
Simpsons.
done. We're out. We're out. We're done. Good. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Later.